He failed his exams. Again and again, doors closed in his face. He was blamed for disasters that killed thousands. He lost elections. He lost respect. He lost positions of power. For decades, people laughed at him. They called him reckless, dangerous, finished. Some even said he should never lead. While others rose, he fell. While the world moved forward, he was forgotten. At the age of 55, his career seemed dead. No office, no influence, no future. Yet when the world is on the edge of destruction, when fear spreads across nations, when no one else dared to stand, he was called upon to stand alone. He was Winston Churchill, also known as the British Bulldog. Churchill was born on November 30th, 1874, at Blenheim Palace, a large and beautiful home that suggested a life of comfort. His father, Lord Randolph Churchill, was a smart but unpredictable politician. His mother, Jenny Jerome, was a famous American social figure and was often away. From the outside, his life looked perfect. He had money, status, and many chances to succeed. But inside, he felt alone. Churchill's parents did not give him much care or attention. School was not a happy place for him either. Teachers called him stubborn, careless, and unfocused. Even his own father doubted him. He once wrote that Winston was careless, unfocused, and unlikely to ever succeed in life. Those words cut deep, but he promised himself, "I will prove them wrong." At the age of 18, in 1893, Winston applied to the Royal Military Academy at Sandhurst. He failed. He tried again, failed again. For most young men, that would have been the end, but not for Winston. He refused to quit. He studied harder, trained longer, and pushed himself further. On his third attempt, at 19 years old in 1894, he finally passed. After graduating from Sandhurst, 19-year-old Winston was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the 4th Queen's Own Hussars. He was sent to India. The heat burned, the marches tested every muscle, and discipline was merciless. But the young officer thrived. Every challenge was a lesson, every struggle a step forward. Later, he went to Sudan to fight in battles. But Winston was not just a soldier, he wanted to write about what he saw. In 1899, at 25, his life took a dramatic turn. He was sent to South Africa during the Second Boer War, not just as a soldier, but as a war correspondent for the Morning Post. Danger followed him everywhere. On November 15, 1899, a British train was attacked by Boer fighters. Winston was captured and taken to a prison camp in Pretoria. It was a dangerous place, and he was far from home. But Winston did not lose hope. One night, he escaped. He walked hundreds of miles, hiding during the day, traveling by train when he could, and surviving in the wild. Finally, he reached safety in Portuguese East Africa. Then, instead of staying safe, he returned to fight near Ladysmith, helping free other soldiers. This daring escape made him famous. Newspapers called him the escape artist. At just 25, Winston Churchill had captured the hearts of Britain. After returning to Britain, at age 26 in 1900, Churchill used his new fame and entered politics, elected as MP for Oldham. He later switched from the Conservative Party to the Liberal Party, focusing on helping workers, improving pensions, and modernizing the Navy. During World War I, Churchill became First Lord of the Admiralty, responsible for the British Navy. In 1915, at 41, Churchill faced one of the hardest tests of his life, the Gallipoli campaign. His plan was to attack the Ottoman Empire through the Dardanelles, but the plan failed catastrophically. Thousands died. He was blamed, humiliated, and forced to resign. But Winston did not quit. He went to the Western Front to serve as a soldier, learning from his mistakes. Later, he returned to government roles and slowly rebuilt his reputation. The 1920s and 30s were years of exile. Europe faced a new danger: Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany. Many politicians ignored the threat, but Churchill spoke out. He warned Britain about the coming war. People called him alarmist, but he stayed firm. He knew the world had to be ready. In May 1940, Britain was in trouble. France had fallen, and Germany seemed unstoppable. Winston Churchill became prime minister. Britain was scared. People feared invasion and defeat. But Churchill inspired hope. He gave speeches that became legendary. We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields and in the streets. We shall fight in the hills. We shall never surrender. He was not just a speaker. He helped plan strategies, worked with allies like the United States and the Soviet Union, and stood firm while London was bombed during the Battle of Britain. His courage inspired millions and helped Britain survive the darkest times. After the war, Churchill lost the 1945 election, but he returned as Prime Minister in 1951. He continued to guide Britain through difficult times. Churchill also loved writing. He wrote books about history and his life, winning the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1953. His words inspired people just as much as his actions did. He died on January 24, 1965, at the age of 90. Britain gave him a state funeral. He had lived a life full of courage, struggle, and triumph. Winston Churchill lived a life of struggle, bravery, and determination. He faced failures, danger, and criticism, but he never quit. His story reminds us that greatness comes not from luck, but from persistence, courage, and believing in yourself. The boy who stammered became the bulldog of Britain, a leader for all time.